Austin FC's historic first international match against Tigres from Liga MX, seven-time champion and 2020 CONCACAF Champions League winner. We will, of course, as usual, follow the protocol. You know how to use the raise your hand function. We can start today with John Lupo.
Hey, Josh. So when Claudio announced the match, that this was going to take place, he said this was a chance for Austin FC to raise their profile. Also, with all the success they had, do you think that it's also a great opportunity to test yourself against a team that's not from MLS, but a team that's had success against MLS teams? As was mentioned, they won the CONCACAF Champions League. So do you think this is another good opportunity for your team to grow and just learn?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I would say. I think you hit it right on the head. And for us to get out and obviously our community and the Mexican community as well against Tigres, who's a fantastic team and historically one of the best in League MX. So a lot of that credit goes to them for for what they've done over the course of time, and that doesn't come easily. And it's a good opponent, and it's going to be a real challenge for our guys. But also a real good opportunity. It's an opportunity for our fans to see what this looks like in an international competition, even though it's a friendly. It's a team that has high level, high quality, and for us, it's getting in front of our fans again. And we've performed well at home, and we've lacked some goals, but it's still a great opportunity. It's a friendly, so we'll try to get some guys minutes that haven't had minutes lately. But also, we want to compete. We want to go out and be competitive, and we understand that the opponent's going to come in with certainly a good mentality. They're trying to prepare to start their season, and we're going to have to match that. But it'll be a good test, good opportunity for both teams.
Thank you, John. And let's go with Mike Craven, followed by Dennis De La Peña.
Hey, Coach. Just wondering if Musa will be available, if he's in town, kind of what the status is on him, and then if there's any guys who will be withheld this week. Just to kind of get healthy for the next MLS game.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Musa's not here. He's not in town. So we'll wait. And again, we know that process is always fairly fluid and not really set in stone how that takes place. But it's in process, I guess, is the best I can say. Certainly we have some guys that are unavailable. Gallagher, Pereira remain unavailable. Lima's still working to get fit. Alex Rings had an MRI. He'll likely be out. And Tomas has been back in training, which has been good. He had to step out again the other day, but hopefully he'll be able to give us some good minutes. And yeah, we'll have some limited numbers, but we've got to get guys out there that can play 90 minutes and some of those players that haven't seen minutes. So we have to be smart about who we subject to real minutes, because some of our guys have played a decent amount. And we've got to be mindful that they need the rest, and this will be a good impulse for them, but maybe they get a half rather than 60 or 75 minutes. So we're still managing it. When I see where guys come out of training today, Cecilio Dominguez is another one that wasn't able to train today. So we have some questions, but we'll have a little bit better clarity tomorrow before the game.
With that said, what are the goals? Or do you walk into this game with like a couple of things to accomplish? I guess, how do you approach it with kind of the number of limitations?
Yeah, I think, again, we want to play, I think the way that we've been playing and what we've worked on. And I think, all of our players have had opportunities from preseason to today. And I think we have a good understanding of how we want to play, what their roles are in executing that. And now it's an opportunity. Again, a number of guys haven't seen significant minutes lately. And I think there's a few of those guys that should see some time tomorrow and be able to play. And we're going to need to push those minutes for some individuals, because we have to pull back on some other guys. But the goals are to play and compete and again, give as much of a challenge to Tigres as we can, and try to push them as we have tried to do in every game that we've stepped on the field today. And we're going to have fans. There's going to be energy in that stadium. I can guarantee that. And Tigres will also have fans. So I told the guys today, it'll continue to be a very raucous atmosphere. And I know once the game starts, the mentality, the intensity will be there from our guys. But it'll be good to get some new faces some time as well.
Thank you, Mike and Josh. Let's go with Dennis De La Peña, followed by Phil West.
Coach, you just pretty much hit on it. painting the picture of an international game with Tigres with such a good fan base. Have you prepared your guys that maybe some of the younger guys, but can you paint a picture of what this is going to feel like at Q2?
Well, I mean, Q2 provides such a unique experience already, and that energy will certainly be present. And the Tigres fans, the Mexican community, in support of their team and their the fan base that they will carry, it'll also liven it up. It'll be a competitive element, a competitive atmosphere, and there are expectations from the Tigres players and community to come out and compete and play and win. And certainly that's how we feel about our brand. We want to come in and be competitive and compete, and we're playing at home, and we expect to have energy and good intensity, and we need a good performance. And again, I think there's going to be a mix of players in this game, just because physically we need to do that. We need to get some players some minutes, but we also need to pull back on some other players, and we're pretty limited with our numbers. So we got to be really mindful of that. And it's a good opportunity in a number of ways. And we wish we had more players available as well, so we could push out a starting group in essence. But we'll utilize our players and make it as competitive as possible. It'll be an enjoyable experience for our players no matter what. It's good to play teams like this, players like this. And again, the competition between our two leagues has only risen and grown, and it'll be a good test for our guys for sure.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Phil West, followed by Ruben Pizarro.
Great, thanks, Mauricio. Hey, Josh, I wanted to just ask you, is there any chance that you might dip into the academy ranks at all to fill out the roster, or are you going to go with just senior players this one?
I wish our academy's young. Those are 14-year-olds, so I don't see them being able to step on the field tomorrow against Tigres and us feel comfortable with that yet. But we've brought them into training, and it's been a delight to have a few of them out there. And one, to see that crossover from the youth to the first team is important. And as we now grow out our academy, that will become more commonplace without a doubt. So we'll just have to see how that progresses over time. But the expectation long term is that those guys will, if and when they're ready, and it's all about their quality, not their age, they'll be part of our group. And it's unfortunate they're not of age yet, or have that quality in place quite yet, but they are close. There's a few of them. Again, I mentioned Micah and Drake before, Misa and a few of the guys that have come out, and they've done well. But it's going to take them a little bit more time to get there, but we look forward to those days.
Okay, one more quick one. How's Lima's progress?
He's doing okay. He was running around the field today. He's probably 70% of his max speed, so he's got to get to certain thresholds before he can be reintroduced to training. So if I had to guess, he's 3+ weeks still out. John Gallagher was jogging around, so we're mindful of that. It's unfortunate that John was doing well, and obviously Pepe Danny Pereira was a little bit of a setback, but I don't think it was on the surface. I don't think it's as bad as I first feared. So hopefully that'll come to pass in a quicker manner, maybe a week or two. But we got to keep moving forward. It's this time of the year. It's difficult, and we got to make as much of what we have in these next opportunities.
Thank you, Phil. Ruben Pizarro, go ahead, followed by Jeff Jones.
Thank you. Coach Wolff, good afternoon. And seeing that you recognize the level of competition against Tigres, has it been any conversation having the 3 MLS teams in Texas compete against 3 teams from Liga Mexicana?
I like it, Ruben. I think you should take that up and start charging that. That's a great idea. There's plenty of competition here in Texas, which is great. And there's certainly local teams from Mexico. And Miguel Herrera was walking through the training center today and with Claudio and myself. So we were, I think we're open to a lot of things, not only for first team, but even for academy experiences as well for the youth teams. But I think those possibilities would be great. I just don't know inside the structure of our league how easily that would be done. I know we've now got a couple more competitions with Liga MX, which I think is extremely important for both leagues, to be honest. I think the more contact we have, the more games against Liga MX teams, the better, because the competition and the proximity in some of this is extremely good, but the level of quality is getting a little bit more on the even playing field, and that's nice to see. They push us, and I'm sure we push them as well.
Thank you.
But
Thank you, Ruben. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yes, sir. Josh, how does preparing for a friendly differ from preparing for a regular season MLS match?
Well, I think it's a few things. Obviously, you have to assess where your team's at, where the roster's at physically and mentally, and then come to grips with that. I think we're going to be missing some players, so now we have to put out a team that again has as much comfortability and confidence and competency in what we're trying to execute and play. It's a friendly, it's a high level opponent, so it's friendly is an interesting word because once the game starts, there's an intensity, and none of these games come away with just butterflies and rainbows and everything's nice. It has a level of intensity. They want to play and compete. They're preparing for their season. They have high expectations as an organization, and we're right in the middle of our season. And obviously we're dealing with what we're dealing with from a physical standpoint or injuries. But we still have this opportunity to play a game, and I think it comes at a nice bridge between two games that we can get minutes for guys and really important minutes for some that haven't seen minutes, but also a good exercise for the guys that have been playing a lot of minutes. You can push yourself for 45 minutes. You can push yourself for 30 because, that's what's going to be required of all our guys. We have about 14 or 15 field players available. So we're going to need to use all of them in a responsible way. But it'll be a good opportunity, be a good, intense atmosphere, and it'll be a competitive match. I'm sure of that.
What do you know about this Tigres team? What can we expect to see from them on the field?
Well, I think they're, as with most Mexican sides, very technical, very aggressive, attacking teams. And, knowing that Miguel Herrera, Club America, and the level of accomplishment that he's had, there's an expectation coming into this club to get them, and maintain a level because they've been 7-time champions. They're a CONCACAF champion. There is an expectation from this group and this organization. And, I expect them, again, they're prepping for their first games of their season. So bringing as full a squad as they can and getting them as up to game speed as possible, which is again, for us and what I've talked to our guys today is we're going to need to match that intensity. When we say friendly, we're going to have 20,000 people in the stands and there's going to be energy and the opponent's going to come to play. And we got to come to play and be prepared for that mentally, physically, and do what we've been doing at home, playing well and trying to win games and score some goals.
Thank you, Jeff. Go ahead, Mike Craven.
Hey, Coach, you've played in international games before. Can you talk about what that offers a player, specifically a young player, in terms of just confidence or just seeing something that maybe they haven't experienced before?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's experiencing a game, experiencing opponents, whether it's Mexico or from a European opponent. There's a different level of speed and thoughtfulness to the way that these players or, teams from another region or another country possess. And, we've played against a number of, the proximity and certainly with CONCACAF and you play against more teams from Mexico, but there's a technical component, a speed to it, certainly a quality. It's not just Mexican players, it's Colombian, Ecuadorian, it's still players from South America and other parts of Central America. So it's good for players to see that there's a level of physicality that's different and on the ball and off the ball. I think MLS is a very athletic transitional league. Mexico possesses some of that as well, but there's just a different, slightly different quality within each team in Mexico. And that's what we have to match. And that's kind of what we're pushing for. That's why I think these competitions and exercises are so good for MLS teams because we want and we see what Mexico are, and we're getting closer to that same competition level and the ability to play and win against teams of this stature on a consistent level. We're not there yet, but I think the growth has been happening, and this will be eye-opening for some of our young players for sure. Our experienced players have, like you said, have probably been in some of these competitions or played these teams, but it's always a good test, always stern, always physical, and you have to be prepared for it psychologically and physically.
You touched on it a little bit. How much is that gap closed? Maybe to people who haven't been paying attention as much, like how different is it than maybe it was 15 years ago?
Well, I think it's drastically different from 15 years ago. And one, we have a number of, we have a number of, 27 teams in the league now. So we certainly have more quality teams. We have more quality coaches, and we're just doing a better job developing our younger players. And the influx and the ability that we've brought players at different ages, at different, with different quality, has also helped our own league, but help develop our own young players. And it's narrowing. I don't think we can say exactly how close we are, but it's certainly been narrowed. And you can see that when these games take place in CONCACAF and certainly the other competitions that will take place this summer will be eye-opening to see again.
Thank you, Mike. Jorge Iturralde, followed by Phil West.
Hi, Josh. You mentioned that Miguel Herrera was walking with you guys on your facilities, and Tigres was the only Mexican team that sent you a welcome video when you had the first home game. What is the relationship between Tigres and Austin FC, and also what Miguel Herrera said about your facilities?
Well, I think he was impressed with our facilities, and I think, knowing that he's been right, a neighboring country, a neighboring league to the United States, it's probably helpful that he sees what we're doing here, and obviously what's enabling our game to grow here, our youth to grow here. And but I think he was impressed with our facility. He was complimentary of it, and he was with Claudio as well. So he's worked with some of the biggest clubs in Mexico, so he's certainly seen the level of quality, the level of investment, the level of infrastructure that's needed. And I think this, he was joking about it. He's like, it's good for ownership to see this. It's good for ownership here in Tigres to see what you guys are doing here, because it may open some eyes and some opportunities for us back home. But the relationship with Tigres, one of our owners, Eddie Morgaine, is obviously really strong presence within our organization, but I think he has good relationships with some of the people at Tigres. So I think that maybe sparked some of this interest with Eddie and Anthony and the family of Tigres and the ownership group there. So we're more than delighted. They're six some hours away, so it's a great opportunity to play a very good opponent. And hopefully these opportunities will continue down the road, because we need these experiences more than anybody as a young team, a new team. But I think it also, someone mentioned it earlier, it provides some insight to what Mexican soccer looks like in the competition. And obviously for fans here to get to see soccer at a high level is really important from different parts of the world. I think it's really important to see that.
And also the fan base. I know Rigo, one of the leaders of Los Verdes, was part of Los Libres y Locos from Tigres. So do you mention something about the fan base is very similar, Tigres and Austin FC?
I don't know the fan base of Tigres, but I know the fans. When we see these teams in Mexico, it's one of the most impressive things is the loyalty, the passion, the energy that these fans have. Not just with club team, but national team. Their ability to travel, their ability to make games, whether it's in America or anywhere in America. I think it shows it's a real special bond with the game and a bond with their players, and that's fascinating to see, because it's always been there. It's always been there when you see the Mexican teams, the Mexican players, and the Mexican fans. And again, I think that when you look into our stands and you look at what our fan base is doing, Los Verdes and everybody in our stadium, there's a real connection and there's a real energy and a real passion. And whether they got that from somewhere else or it happened organically, it's still really impressive to see. And I look forward to seeing the energy tomorrow night from our fans and also the Tigres fans. It's what makes international competition so fun, so exciting. A little clash of energies within a stadium is awesome.
Thank you, Josh.
You bet.
Phil West, and we will close with Ruben Pizarro.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, just real quick. So the next two MLS regular matches are a Thursday and a Wednesday. Just kind of wondering, it's a little funky. So how are you dealing with training and maybe extra rest days?
Yeah, we've, I think you hit a little bit of, it is odd. We've had a few Wednesday games, but a Wednesday, Thursday, we've already done. So we'll still be able to have a weekend between the games. So we'll certainly set our schedule, which has already been set, but they've had a number of off days to help give us a little bit of a break to that rush that we've had. But we also have a number of days now where we can prepare in a good way and obviously build guys back into it. Hopefully we get a few guys back into the mix over the next week. But always mindful of freshness and preparation for the next game. But having a game on Wednesday, Thursday, it shouldn't pose a big problem. It's more when they come Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, or Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, then it becomes a bit more taxing and certainly a juggling act. But we should be okay when you have at least an 8 day or 6, 7, 8 day in between the games. But our fans have come out strong on Wednesdays and Thursdays, so it'll still be nice to be playing at home.
Thank you, Phil. Last question, Ruben Pizarro, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Phil, this is a friendly match tomorrow night, but are you thinking to use your starting roster as an MLS game?
We need to utilize a number of players. Our starters can't go significant minutes. They've played a lot of minutes already, and we've obviously had a number of players injured recently, so we are mindful of that. We'll use some players that haven't seen a lot of minutes lately, and we need those guys to push minutes, 75 to 90 minutes. We'll also use some of our starters as well. We want guys to be out there to play and be able to execute the way that we want to play and have that element to our game. It's really important that we're able to do that. It's going to be a good opponent. It's going to be a challenge, but I need our guys to experience that. And, there's going to be a number of players that haven't played significant minutes lately, and that's okay. It's coming into that environment and feeling that energy and then dealing with the situation, playing soccer. And, we'll make changes as necessary, but we have some limited numbers, and we've got to be very mindful and certainly careful with some of those.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please, we will see you in about 8 minutes when Diego Fagundes joins us in about 1:45. That's about right, 8 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.